Hi, this is Cate Stillman with Yogahealer.com and YogiDetox.com, and I'm here with Kevin Reese today of EatTheSunlight.com.
Oh.
And I must say, when I ran into your work, I think it was over through Twitter, and then found your site, I was like, oh, this is really great. It seems like you've had quite the personal path with detoxification, and I just wanted to hear, more about you. And I really get a sense with Eat the Sunlight, like, so I always feel like I'm doing is kind of eating the sunlight and eating the elements, and just love to get your take. So before we dive into all that, just tell us a little bit about your own personal path with detoxing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a radio guy. I was a radio personality for many years, and I found myself very unhealthy at around 28 years old. So I needed to do something, and do something fast. So I went on a mission. I went on a journey, and in that journey, I discovered a lot of raw foods, juicing, and and detox. And I did a lot of studying, and I ended up loving it. So I used it on myself to improve myself. And while doing that, I fell in love with it, so I ended up going to school for it. So it's funny how things happen, but here I am.
That's great. And what kind of schooling did you pursue? What was the direction?
I went to IIN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and I went and studied under Dr. Robert Morris in Florida for detox. So,
okay, great.
Yeah.
So now tell me too, so when you go back to like where you were, 28, radio personality, unhealthy, can you give us some of the details on that? Just like how in deep were you in towards the standard American diet or lifestyle, or how sick did you get?
I have, because it never goes away, a very, very bad food addiction. And, it was to the point where, 2 pizzas on a Friday night, or, sucked down with soda, or, you remember when Chili's and Applebee's came out with the 2 for $20 specials all the time? I was killing those. All by myself. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and cigarette smoker for 13 years. And I was smoking a lot of weed. I was smoking a lot of cigarettes. I was eating a lot of food. I wasn't living right. I didn't exercise, and my body just started to break down. And I started having a slew of health challenges. I ended up at the doctor all the time, and I really got annoyed with the doctor. Not that it's his fault, but not that just not having answers. I wanted answers. I want answers. What's wrong? What's wrong? So I just felt like I should learn my body so that I can come up with the answers and troubleshoot myself. But I ended up on heart monitors for a little bit. I was having serious anxiety attacks. I was having digestion issues. Looking back on it now, knowing what I know, a lot of adrenal fatigue. And I'm glad I had the discipline and the commitment to change, because I would be in bad shape right now. So that was 5 years ago. So.
And so give me some more specifics too in terms of when you were going to the doctor, what you were going for. And the reason I'm asking, Kevin, is because for so many people, they don't think things are reversible, right?
Right.
And our medical culture doesn't really promote that things are reversible without medication.
Sure. They got to keep that circle of money going.
I do. It's tricky, isn't it? So yeah, what was showing up? What was going on? Tell me more about your heart issues. Tell me more in description about your digestive issues, just so people can relate and say, oh, I got some of that going on.
I had a heart pain. I guess we call it a heart pain, a chest pain that just happened to be on my left side. Let's say that. And the doctor didn't know what it was. And we went through all sorts of tests. I had every test you can think of. I mean, I ran up my bill, you know what I mean? And I was determined to, screw it, I'm going to pay, because I want to know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And the end result was he didn't know what was wrong. in fact, he told me that it's probably something in the wall of your chest. That was what he said. And you know, that wasn't kosher with me. You know, like that wasn't enough for me. So, you know, I have a good idea what it probably was or is now, knowing what I know. But you know, he didn't have an answer, and he was honest about it though. I do respect his honesty. You got to respect an honest doctor, I suppose. But he didn't know. You know, they're just troubleshooting. You know.
And with
So,
digestion, were you getting hyperacidity or constipation or everything? What was IBS, or what were your?
no particular name around it, but definitely some poor movements, some poor eliminations, and you know, a lot of heartburn, a lot of just a lot of stomach aches all the time. But those are gone now.
Great. And what about skin? Did you have skin issues, or what was your skin like?
I would get a rash every now and again. Not too bad though. Yeah, acne. Sure, some acne. And I don't really get that anymore either. So, all gone.
Has the anxiety gone too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, gone.
And so what do you find is like your natural disposition now that you're detoxed? Like what are you finding just in parallel to where you were?
I just feel like I'm so far leaps and bounds ahead of where I was, and you know, I just really want to, you know, through the Eat the Sunlight thing and through outlets like this, just, you know, let people know that they can change, and you know, hopefully inspire somebody that, you know, has no hope, because man, it's a real hopeless situation when you're dealing with some health challenges. I like to call them health challenges. You know, we don't want to throw the D word on it, so the you know, the AMA comes and rips you out of your house.
Yeah.
So I call it health challenges. But you know, even if somebody's just obese, you know, and I was too. You know, I was 80 pounds heavier than I am now. But when people look up that mountain, man, they get defeated real fast. So you know, hopefully, you know, we can change that and give people inspiration to climb that mountain, because it can be done. It can be done. And even more important, and one of my things, like my initiative, I think in this world, is to get the young folks excited about health and let them know that health is cool, and because if they can change, if we can get the 16-year-old kid to change, or even the 22-year-old kid to change, they're going to now raise their kids different. And now we got a whole new generation coming up that are, you know, that know about juicers at 12 years old. And mom and dad teach them that burgers and fries are no bueno, but the juicer is great, you know. So we need to do that, you know, because, you know, yeah, I turned my life around. I turned my health around, but I still did 30 years of damage. No matter how you look at it, I still did 30 years of damage. I still got a lot of work to do.
What kind of diet did you grow up with?
Standard American, absolutely. Mac and cheese out the box. Chef Boyardee was my best friend. We got along well. And a lot of burgers, fries, pizza, steak, you name it. That was it. When I got to college, it was all about chicken patties and sandwiches and pizza and, you know.
Yeah.
Vegetables, but just a little bit. And, you know, definitely cooked vegetables.
I'm glad you brought that up about, you know, about really like how children need to learn how to eat. There's studies done. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. You may have heard of this, but there's correlations between food being prepared at home and obesity, right? So if, for instance, your mother had a full-time job and there was convenient foods at home, because the child doesn't learn how to prepare vegetables, how to like basically like take stuff from the garden or the farmer's market or the grocery store into the house and start with raw ingredients, the rate of obesity goes up exponentially. So then when it happens for 2 generations, right? Two generations of disconnect from actually cooking. You have another exponential leap in obesity. Same thing with third generation. And I guess now, statistically, we're at fourth generation. And we look at like the highest rates of obesity. They're usually linked to four generations disconnect from cooking. So what you're saying is huge. Of like, even if it's just like throw a bunch of stuff in a blender with some water, that's all we need.
Yeah, I mean, blender can be everyone's best friend. You know, you can't expect everyone to get a juicer, but everyone can go get a $30, $40 blender.
Yeah, or $5 at the thrift store, right? I mean, they're there.
Make it happen, you know. Yeah, I haven't heard of that study, but I do believe that. We're in bad shape, man. Bad. I don't. There's no way to like put it, you know, to sugarcoat it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. We're just in bad shape, and you know, I suppose it's good to see some things in the mainstream. I mean, you got Dr. Oz out there.
Yep.
Don't agree with everything, but it is, I guess, a step in the right direction. Whole Foods, step in the right direction. Mrs. Obama is doing some things with child obesity. I saw her on television the other day talking about getting rid of junk food. She's not specific, though. But she can't be because the food corp's running the government. So, you know, there's a fine line there.
It's a dance, yeah.
You know, but, you know, somebody needs to take control. You know, when it came to violence, we had Gandhi, right? When it came to the black and white issue in the 60s, we had Martin Luther King. And there's been many people through decades that have come up and sacrificed a lot, but there's nobody doing it for food. And that's our biggest issue. That is our biggest issue, because the three ways people die most in this country is heart disease, cancer, and medical error. But all we hear about is gun control. You know, it's like, you know, nobody's addressing, you know, the three major reasons people die in the United States of America: heart disease, cancer, and medical error. And that's scary. Medical error, that's scary. We got to get off of the medicines. We got to get off. We got to think 80 times before you go get cut open.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with all that you're saying. And I was just reading some statistic yesterday about, you know, like 19 out of 20 the most common diseases are, you know, they're degenerative. They're nutrition-based degenerative diseases. They're all more or less preventable. So we're looking at like that one risky infection. Whereas, you know, 100 years ago, people used to die of infection. Now we don't die of infection. We die of.
We kill ourselves.
Yeah, we kill ourselves with food. So now, because I mean, for my community, the people that are in the yogi detox, mostly yoga students and yoga teachers. So really very healthy people in general. They're going to the next level of health evolution. But what I feel like is unique in your story for my community is, you know, all these people have someone in their life that they can relate to. That's right where you were, right? And it's just in a pain cave, feels like they're pushing a boulder up a hill and don't know how to, you know, and yet can't really find either the inspiration or the right leaders or the, you know, sense of like, I can do it, and the drive and determination to do what needs to be done. And so I'm just really curious, like, what happened on your path? How'd you turn it around?
Man, I was studying the inner workings of the world, and it was scary stuff. That's probably where a lot of the anxiety came from at that time. But a light bulb went off in my head that no matter what happens in this world, you can't control it. And all you can control is yourself, and that your body is your house, your body is your vehicle. And when that light bulb went off, I knew what I had to do. I just knew what I had to do. And I just started studying my butt off. I started studying Gandhi and Jesus and Buddha and Don Matus and, you know, Krishna, and then the list goes on. And it just, across the board, no matter what you believe in or who you believe in, it was just so simple that you do unto others as you want.
Mine just froze up. So yeah, you were saying do unto others as others. what, they do unto you.
In my studies, it came down to two things across the board. Treat others how you want to be treated, and your body is your temple. And that was it. And I just knew that I needed to control my body, and I started studying the pineal gland and the third eye and how it's calcified by the time we're 10 or 12 from the fluoride and the processed food. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this needs to change. We need to reverse this. And I went in like buying a used house.
Yeah.
And renovating it, and then, 5 years later, sell it for a profit. That's what I was doing with my body, And then along my journey with, juicing, and I was studying, like I didn't want to just drink cucumbers. I wanted to learn what they did. And along my studies, I ran into a gentleman on YouTube by the name of Dan McDonald. And I started watching his videos, and that helped me a lot as well. So I give him a lot of credit as well. He's still helping people, so.
That's great.
So now I'm helping people, which is cool. So.
And what were some of the hardest things for you when you started to, make some changes? Like, what were some of the, when you look back and you see it, like, how did I get through that, or how come I didn't, because there's such a high rate of failure, right, with this, right? And people try something new, and then they get sucked back.
The marijuana was easy. I don't know how, but it was easy. It just was. It was like that. And then it was time to do cigarettes. And cigarettes are hard. So if anyone's out there that's a cigarette smoker, I feel your pain. What I did though is I did a 5-day fast. And my food addiction ass went 5 days with no food, and at the end I was like, I can quit smoking cigarettes.
Did you smoke cigarettes when you had the no food, or did you just?
Yeah, no, I did like a dummy. Yeah, and I had chest pains and.
Oh, that's kind of cool though. No, I totally get that. Of like just bring it down to see exactly what this one thing's doing.
And looking back on it was probably a little dangerous.
Yeah, really dangerous.
Putting those chemicals in your body with no food, my goodness. Oh, but I didn't know then.
Yeah.
But I did 5 days on the master cleanse, the lemonade diet.
Yeah.
And with cigarettes, Newports, menthol. And a month later, I quit smoking cigarettes. And,
did you just quit, like cold turkey, or did you wean, or?
I weaned myself off. I came up with a plan that I still use with clients now. I call it the cigarette diet. And nice. And I remember writing it on the floor of my apartment, and I still got it. I still use it. And so that was it, cigarettes. And then, I gained some weight because I was eating more food. And, it was a process. It was literally a 4-year process. And food was, and always will be the hardest. Food is hard. Getting rid of heroin is probably easier than food because we're so accustomed to food. And at the end of the day, when you sit down and you watch the TV, you're going to see a Taco Bell commercial.
Yeah.
Going to see a Pop-Tart commercial. A heroin addict doesn't have to worry about seeing a heroin commercial.
Right. Well, or that everything social's regarding, is arranged around food. And again, it's a big deal, especially when, I think what happens too with the path of detox, a lot of us wake up to how efficient our body is with less fuel. And when we really wake up to that and we go socialize, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much, it's largesse, there's excess, and it's totally normal. But because our physiology, our detox physiology is running a totally different biochemistry than a non-detox physiology, that food's going to congest our channels 10 times faster than it will for a on-detox physiology. So we need it 10 times less, and it's going to do 10 times the damage. And that's a lot to navigate when every social situation involves your chief addiction.
Yeah, it's hard. I've struggled with that. I mean, the marijuana and the cigarettes were way easier than food. I remember getting rid of meat. I mean, that was a big deal. That was kind of like the marijuana. That went like that actually, because it was a spiritual awakening.
Yep.
I got rid of meat and I kept eating seafood. And then, it was only about a month later, I was chewing on some shrimp and I spit it out.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it was weird. It was just, it just happened. It wasn't something that I sat there and said, I'm not going to do this. It just happened. And then from there, I got into the raw foods and I went raw for a while and started experimenting. And,
So how much have your social relationships shifted because of your awakening?
In the beginning, a lot, because you didn't want to be around, you didn't want to be around that, An alcoholic probably doesn't want to hang out with his friends at the bar.
Yep.
So it definitely did. I'm over it now, for the most part. Like, I can go hang out with friends and have a lemon water, But in the beginning, it was very hard. It's hard I'm a single guy, too. It is hard out here to date, let me tell you. Like,
go to yoga class, dude.
I gotta write like an ebook on this.
Do you go to yoga class? It's all women
Yep.
over there. They like green juice. They like guys who do green juice. They like guys who meditate.
It's tough, man.
There's like these holistic raw dating forums now, right? Because of just getting that. Like, you're not going to meet at the bar. You might meet at the juice bar, but it's a little different because you don't hang out there as long.
Because I'm viewed, we're viewed as weird outcasts, and asking a girl out for a cup of tea is like, huh? Tea? What? Why can't we go to dinner? Well, we can, but I'm fasting right now. What? You're what? Why? Why are you starving yourself? Why would you do that? And it's exhausting to explain, and it's just like, come to my seminar, come to a lecture, I'll tell you. So now you're trying to sell, now you're trying to get women to come to your lectures, just so you can, you're not exhausting yourself saying the same thing over and over and over and over. But it's all right.
So with your work with eatthesunlight.com and your detoxes, tell me a little bit about like your target clientele. Are you working mostly with people with obesity and drug addiction?
It took a while to figure out what the niche was.
Yeah.
Because you really should in this line of work find your niche so you can focus on what it is. And it took a while. At first, I thought it was going to be obesity, but it ended up not being obesity. It ended up being health challenges. People who, they have diabetes, they have fibroids, they have anemia, they have cancer, diverticulitis, whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever your health challenge is, that's what we specialize in. Getting people to be sick-free. That's really what my program is about, and it's a year long. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do 6-month programs. I just felt like that was too much of a rush. So I came up with a year program. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, and then if it's something like severe like cancer, then we'll go right into detox mode. Transition you in, mm-hmm. and then hit you with the herbs and the high fruits and stuff. But that's pretty much it, is getting people over their health conditions. And, and then there's seminars, and seminars are great because you can bring in anybody. You can bring in somebody on burgers and fries who doesn't care about getting over their diabetes, but they'll still come to a seminar, and then that's when you just, bam. They're either going to leave saying that guy's nuts, or they're going to leave saying, wow, I need to change. Mm. So seminars are really big for me, and that's where I hope to really thrive over the next 15 years. But
so when someone comes in into a year-long program and they have health challenges and they've been diagnosed with X, Y, or Z, what do you start with before you detox? Do you just start with awareness, or like waking them up to what's going on and what's causing what?
Transition diet. You take somebody on burgers and fries, and my goodness, something like oatmeal is like eating twigs and berries for some of these people. I understand because I was there,
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
I have a lot of transition foods to get people off of the standard American diet, to get them, to where they need to be. But yes, it's not just diet. It's, I believe in the 3 Ds: diet, de-stressing, detoxing. So de-stressing is a huge part, having gratitude and having happiness and having love and, being a forgiving person and things like that. So, we help people with all those things because it's important. Somebody could be on the greatest diet in the world, but if they hate their job, their nerves are all sorts of messed up. So, that apple isn't going to do as good as if somebody, is on the beach meditating, eating an apple, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so teaching more like right relationship to their body and to life in general.
Absolutely.
And are you finding, I'm just curious too, because like, are you finding that because so many people haven't been raised in like in a healthy, functional, respectful relationship to life, or relationship to themselves, or relationship to each other, that just wasn't happening at home, that those skills weren't there, that it's kind of like they're hearing it for the first time?
Hearing what the first time?
That it's like hearing these skills for the first time, or learning these. It's, instead of it being like a reminder, it's more of like an initiation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's about right for sure. Yeah. On my program, once they get done, they're gonna feel like a brand new individual. We just got a woman over her fibroids in about 10 weeks, and another girl over anemia in 5 weeks, and I love that feeling. Love that feeling of helping somebody get over that, and that's why I can't do the obesity thing. I mean, I could, but they need to want to. It needs to be bigger than ego, is basically what I'm trying to say. In other words, if somebody comes to me and says, well, I need to lose 50 pounds, I want to lose 50 pounds, that's not a good enough reason for my program. So I would probably recommend them to one of my other colleagues that can help them. Because with mine, it's more about healing. It's not about losing 50 pounds so I can fit in my jeans and look good at the wedding I'm about to go to. It's about complete transformation, because I did it. So I'm basically modeling the program around what I accomplished, I guess you can say. Mm-hmm. But I did it in 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking everything that I learned and I'm stuffing it into 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I get it. I've been teaching an online program. It's a 9-month program. It's going into its 6th year next year, and I so respect the length of time of just giving people the support over time, and understanding that there's going to be cycles within this larger annual cycle of transformation. That there's going to be cycles where you feel like $100, and there's going to be cycles where you feel like you're in debt, and and that you're going to need the time and the space and the support of community to make the kind of changes that that you need to make, or that you're ready to step into.
Yeah, and I have a Facebook group. I was about to say online on Facebook, obviously.
Yeah.
And people support each other in there, and I think it helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right.
It does.
People sabotage themselves. I know I've done it a few times in my life. So, somebody could be doing great, like you said, $100, and then they go in debt, and they had a bad day at work, and they said, screw it, I'm getting a pizza on the way home.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. Yeah. That's going to happen in the beginning, and that's why a year is very important.
So now tell me, I'd love to hear just you and your own personal journey, health evolution, and where you are going, like what's on your own growing edge.
Yeah, I got a lot of work to do. I'm obsessed. People around me are like, you're detoxing again? What? Like, you know,
I know.
They don't get it, you know.
Yeah.
I understand though. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with fixing myself. I really am. I have lymphatic stagnation on the left side of my body.
Uh-huh.
I've discovered that, and I want to get rid of it really bad.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to do a liver flush. I'll probably do that soon. You know, I want to do a melon fast really bad, really bad. Just a month, maybe 2 on nothing but melons and just float. I just want to float. I do. Just float down the street. You know, I'm working on some soul travel and stuff right now, and I'm always into personal enrichment, and I always will be. And that's the beauty of this. You know, I don't need to, you know, become a millionaire off this health thing or anything like that. You know, I just need to keep working on myself and help others while I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Well, it's cool to just connect with you and your program and your path. And what I'm finding, and I've done a lot of these yoga detox interviews with all these different types of practitioners and doctors and healers and, you know, teachers, gurus, all that. And what's so apparent to me in the process of these conversations is just how, you know, everyone is speaking to someone a little different, and really enabling connectivity with that, you know, with that person, with that group, and really using everything from their past that's worked and bringing that forward. And it's like, you know, it's like the science of our inner, you know, biochemistry experiment of just like taking our own personal experiments, refining them, passing them on, and that it's all of the, you know, all these different, you know, detoxers like you and myself and all these, you know, all these various teachers, gurus, healers, doctors out there that are doing this work, and just knowing that in mass we are creating a shift in culture, you know, that it is happening, and it is getting, I think, a lot more apparent to people that want to wake up a little bit. Like, you're starting to see pictures of green drinks everywhere. Like, people are getting that that's normal. They're getting that it's not weird. I mean, that stuff 20 years ago, you never see it. You never see it in something on like Oprah magazine or something like that. You never see it in mainstream culture. And now it's pretty clear in, you know, in the sort of like waking up mainstream culture, just that, like that beginning edge of like waking up to be healthy mainstream culture, that it's all about green. It's a lot more about way increasing, you know, leafy greens, fruits, vegetables over everything else, and some of these most basic things are just getting so much more clear. Whereas when you think back to the way we were raised, and I mean, we were raised on that whole brainwash, bread, meat, dairy, eggs, that whole, like, you need a farmer's breakfast, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Too much protein. That's America. It's too much protein. The word detox is very trendy right now.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off what you were saying.
Yeah.
Magazines, TV. My goodness. It's pretty wild stuff. So yeah, we have a ripple effect going on right now. You know, all the practitioners, all the holistic practitioners, and there's a food revolution that is about to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can sense that even with, again, Michelle Obama talking about what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So it's coming. It has to.
Yeah.
Or we're going to die off. It's just that simple. I mean, it's that bad. I mean,
yeah.
We're so far leaps and bounds ahead of every other nation as far as bad health for the most part. Yeah. You know, I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but we're probably the top 10 worst in every subject you can think of.
Yeah, it's getting ugly. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, and usually that's what it takes, like the pulsation, you know, for it to get that bad, and it's going to come back, and yeah, let's make that happen. Well, Kevin, thanks so much. This has been really just fun to tap into you and your community. I want to point people again to your website, eatthesunlight.com, and your blog, and just really wish you the best in the work that you're doing, both your inner work and your outer work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And everyone, just Just my last words are basically just get sunlight. Just get sunlight into your diet. Eat the sunlight because my last soundbite. The whole reason why that name came about is because I felt we needed something that wasn't intimidating to the mainstream. Because detox is intimidating. Raw food is intimidating. Vegan is intimidating. Vegetarian is intimidating. It can be intimidating. So I'm just stressing the sunlight thing because people pretty much know natural sunlight, plants. So that's kind of what I'm pushing right now. So just even if you could take somebody on the standard American diet that's been on it for 50 years and you can just get them to just get some more sunlight into their stomach, that could be some change.
Yeah, totally. It'll happen from the inside out.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,